time. We are in our second week of a series called No Pain. Okay, with all of the energy and the angst and the looking down your nose of a man who's been going to the gym for 15 years, look to the person next to you and say, no pain. That was like Donkey Kong. That was like old school Donkey Kong. Anyway, look to the person on your right and now like you mean it. Be like, no pain, DK. Dude, I need to voice act for Donkey Kong. Guys, I think I could do it. I think I could voice act for Donkey Kong. Guys, okay, I'm gonna do it. Anyway, we are in our series called No Pain. And the reason why I really feel like this series is something we need to cover is because I think a lot of people, when they think about Christianity, a lot of people when they think about Jesus, a lot of people when they think about following Jesus and being a Christian, they think that means that as soon as you take your first few steps and you start becoming a Christian, there's no pain anymore. There's no problems anymore. It's Skittles raining from heaven, which would actually hurt, so not that. That would hurt. It's cotton candy raining from heaven. Man, can you imagine Skittles raining? That would hurt. For a minute, you'd look outside and be like, that looks awesome. And then your car window would explode and people would be running in terror. Not that, I'm getting off topic. Anyway, people believe that when they become Christians, what it's all about is getting rid of pain and not having to deal with pain, never having a stressful day, never having a bad situation. It's just unicorns and good vibes and kumbaya and campfires and acoustic guitars for the rest of your life. But when I see Jesus, and when I see his followers, I see people who step into a lot of painful situations. I see people who go through a lot of hellish situations. Now, they always make it through, but they step into it. Let's look at Jesus himself. How does his story on earth end? He dies on a cross, but then he comes back from the dead. There's always a good ending to the painful stories, but it always goes through some pain. And I think we have to realize as Christians is if our faith is going to make it, we have to have the understanding that painful situations are gonna come. It's gonna be a part of life, and it's not God saying, let's just drop them in some hellish situations and see how they do. Let's see if they float or if they sink. It's not God saying, you know what, just to mix things up in their family, I'm gonna give somebody cancer. God's not the author of pain. The Bible says consistently God does not do these evil things to us. However, he does say that trouble's going to come because the earth is a messed up place. Now, I think what we need to do as Christians is we need to be prepared for these tough situations. And I even think Jesus, what he wants for you is to be overly prepared for those bad situations, but that requires something from us, and it requires a word that is just so painful to say, and we don't like it at all. And that word is self-discipline. And that is discipline. That word doesn't even sound good to some of you guys. It just makes you discipline, do I have to? But think about it. For example, 2 days ago, I'm sitting in my living room with a nice big window wall, looking outside as the snow begins to fall. First it was rain, but the weather shifted, and now it's big fat flakes of snow falling down. And I'm drinking a cup of coffee and I'm like, this is the life. Heater's running, got a hoodie on, drinking some coffee, playing some Overwatch, playing some Fortnite, reading a little bit, just man, this is the life. Didn't have work today. I know you guys didn't have school today either. But as I'm looking outside, just enjoying the bliss of a snowy day, in the back of my mind, there's that voice, there's that feeling. You know that voice. You know that feeling. It's the one that when you've been playing video games until 8 p.m. and then it's remember that test tomorrow? You should study. That voice. The voice that we love, but we also love to hate. It's the voice that when you have eaten the whole bag of Doritos without stopping, it's the one that's that was probably a bad call. Probably, you're gonna regret that one later maybe. It's the one where you wake up in the morning and you're in a hurry and you're just do I skip brushing my teeth? It's the one that says, no, No, brush your teeth. Nuh-uh. You got to practice good hygiene if you're going to be on my team. It's that voice. It's that voice that always pushes us to be a little bit more disciplined. And my voice that day was saying, you should go outside and you should shovel. You got to shovel all the snow. You got to lay down salt. And I'm like, voice, I live in an apartment building that has 30 cars in the parking lot. That's going to take me like a long time. Like so much time. I got a friend coming over soon. I'm like, I got like the blanket like tucked in just right. Like it's not too warm. It's just cozy enough. But in the back of my mind, I kept saying, you got to shovel. You should go outside and you should shovel some of that stuff up. But instead, I ignored the thought to prepare for tomorrow, to do what was hard now, to have a better tomorrow. And when I walked out the next day, first step outside, just like feet flat up in the air, fell on my butt, slid down the driveway, finally got into my car, started it. Wheels are spinning as I'm trying to get out of my spot. My car can't move. It's just everything is going wrong. And I'm like, Jesus, why are you doing this to me? And Jesus is like, I'm not. I tried to keep this from happening yesterday, but you were too comfortable. I tried to keep this from happening to you yesterday. I tried to get you to be prepared for this, but you were so comfortable. You didn't want to move. So you know what? This one's not on me, Rich. This one's on you. And I feel like for a lot of us, that is the story of our lives. We want to blame God for the bad things happening because, oh, God, it has to be you. But a lot of times God says, like, I tried to tell you. I warned you. I gave you that feeling. I tried to push you towards preparing for this. This one's not on me. But let's just think about it. How many times do we think or do we hear other people say things like this? I'd rather not deal with it. I know it's there, but I'd rather not deal with it. Or you know what? It would be easier for me to give up than to keep on trying. It'd be easier just to scrap the whole thing, to end it, than to keep on trying with all this going on. Or even, what's the point? It's not gonna get any better. It's not gonna get better than this. And these are the thoughts that I think our culture thinks, but I think we also think. And guys, that's not we meaning you guys think this because you're all messed up and I'm perfect because I'm on stage. No, I have these thoughts too. I have these exact same thoughts of it would be easier. And man, when I was little, I can remember when I was little, wow. Not when I was little. When I was in middle school, when I was in high school, I remember having these same thoughts of like, what would it be like if I wasn't here? What would it be like if I just quit all this? All of these thoughts. I think these thoughts, regardless of your home life, regardless of how much money your family has, regardless of where you live, regardless of how people look at you, everyone has those thoughts. Everyone has these thoughts of what's the point of trying? I'd rather not deal with it. I'd rather not deal with the pain. The thing is, having those thoughts doesn't sign you off as being a lost cause. It doesn't sign you off as the end of your story. You don't have to deal with that for the rest of your life. Having those thoughts is normal. It's what you do with those thoughts that makes or breaks you. And what we've decided to do, I think our culture, what our world has decided to do is when we have these questions of, I've got pain and I don't know what to do with it, our answer has been, do something that feels good to numb the pain. If it feels good, do it. And I know this is such a cliche saying. I know you guys have probably heard it. You're probably sick of your parents and your counselors talking about like, oh, people these days. But this saying, if it feels good, do it, it is kind of become our rally cry. Even if it's something that you don't say, it's something that we all do. Why? Because when we have these feelings, just this paralyzing fear of being alone, rather than just sit there and own the fact, right now I am alone, I'm not dating anybody, I don't have many close friends, rather than owning that fact and saying, I'm gonna get to know myself, I'm gonna get to know what I'm good at, I'm gonna get comfortable in my own skin, instead of doing that painful thing, instead we say, you know what? Rather than deal with the situation, I'm gonna numb the pain by doing what's easy And I'm gonna try to get really shallow friends. I'm gonna try to get a really shallow relationship. I'm gonna find something quick to numb the pain. Rather than saying, okay, you know what? It would be really hard for me to fess up to my mom and dad about this addiction, about this thing I'm looking at online. It'd be really hard for me to fess up and say, Mom and Dad, I'm having these thoughts. It would be hard. It might end my social career. I might get grounded. I might get the help I need, but it would be so hard. It would be easier just to maybe just do something that would give me a little bit of self-control, maybe just to do something that would give me a little bit of respite. You know what? It would be hard for me to fess it to my parents and say, hey, I need help with this porn addiction. It would be easy just to keep it under wraps and not get caught and try to live with the guilt. It would be hard for me to say, Mom and Dad, I'm having these thoughts, these dark, depressing thoughts. I'm in a really bad place. It would be hard for me to step up and speak out and say, you know what? I need help. It would be so easy, though, for me to keep quiet and just keep cutting myself where no one's going to see and just keep posting these really dark thoughts and getting people to kind of pat me on the head and say it's going to be okay, but the feelings aren't going away. It would be hard to do all of these things. And since it's hard and I don't want to deal with that pain, I'll just find something to numb it. I'll just find something that can make me feel better for a few minutes or an hour, whether it's a person, whether it's a relationship that I know I shouldn't be in, whether it's something I view online that just distracts me. Even some things that are good, we use just to numb that pain temporarily. I think some people, it's easier just to plug in to a screen, to play video games, to watch YouTube, and just distract ourselves from the pain than to face it. It's easier for us to just flirt on Snapchat and Instagram and whatever you're using than it is to say, you know what, I'm gonna own being alone. It's easier for us to avoid our parents and avoid having a healthy relationship with the people who gave birth to us and avoid the people who will want to help us till the day that we are done on this earth than it is to say, you know what, I messed up, I'm sorry. I know this means I'm probably gonna get in trouble, but I really need help. See, when we live by the saying, if it feels good, do it, it also means that we live by the saying, if it doesn't feel good, then don't do it. And that's the more troubling one. Because think about the things that we celebrate. Think about the people that we look at and we're like, yeah, they've got something, even if they're just fictional people. Like, I know the new Star Wars movie came out a little while ago, but think of like the Finns and the Rays, the people who say, I'm gonna give up all my friends, we're gonna separate ourselves. I wanna be here for when she gets back, but I'm gonna leave. You know, I'm gonna sacrifice myself and try to take this whole thing out. And we look at these people and we're like, yeah, they're heroes. They're doing it. Yeah, he was a grumpy old man, but he sacrificed himself to stop the thing. I want to be like them. Or we think of like this new movie that came out. Yeah, this one, The Greatest Showman. We look at all these people. I know, everyone's like, oh, glory, hallelujah. But we look at all these people, all of these outcasts, all these people who people looked down at and said, you're nothing, you're garbage, you're trash. But look at them now. Look at the impact they're having. They're heroes. It was painful, it was dark, but they made it through. Even people in sports, even if you're not a LeBron James fan, everyone felt a little bit good when the hometown hero LeBron James came and he won for Cleveland. Why? Because he came from nothing and now he's bringing the championship home, and we love those stories. And we look at those people and we say, wow, they did it. They beat all the odds. They dug in deep. But I can't do that. Those fictional characters, they're bigger and better than me. I applaud them. I love that they do it. Those athletes, man, like, they're just better than me. I don't have that kind of backbone. It's too hard for me to do. And really, a lot of times I think what people think of when they think of faith is they think that faith is just another one of those things that gives us just that temporary relief from pain. Much like a blankie. Anybody have a blankie growing up? Come on, blankie club. Blankie club represent, turn up. Yeah, that's right. Dude, Saturday night, they were all like, no, never had no blankie. When I was a baby, I slept on nails like a man. Yeah, no. I'm glad you guys are being real. We all had blankies growing up. And here's the thing. You know what's so good about when you're little and you have a blankie? The blankie just symbolizes so much, right? The blankie is like, it's like safe. Oh man, this one has like a little tiger on it. Oh, that's adorable. But the blankie, like, it's safe, it's warm, and it represents a lot too. It represents like your parents' love, it represents your grandparents. Maybe you have someone in your family who knit you one. Those are always the best. And the blankie, when you're little, man, it's so good. But how many of you guys have done this? Where it's cold and you just need like a blanket. Maybe you're gonna fall asleep on the couch and you reach into that blanket drawer, you reach under the couch to grab a blanket, and you grab the blankie. Now that you're a little bit older, now you're a little bit taller, and like you get in the couch and you like cover yourself and then like your feet stick out. And you try to do every kind of yoga to get all of yourself under that blanket, but it just doesn't work. So then you have that moment of, am I gonna live with this? Am I gonna live with my feet sticking out? What am I gonna do with this blanket? And I think that's where we are with our faith. Let's look real quick at Ephesians 4. Ephesians 4, we'll pop this up on the screen. You know what, let me look this up in my Bible. I got my Bible up here today. Boom, boom. Okay, Ephesians 4. What Ephesians 4 says is this: you were taught to leave your old self, to leave the old you, to leave the old things. And this means that you must stop living the evil way that you lived before. The maybe comfortable but bad way that you lived before. The maybe readily available but toxic way you lived before. That old self gets worse and worse and worse because people are fooled by the evil they want to do. Don't worry about talking to your parents about that addiction to porn because it's not gonna get any worse than it is right now, but then you feel a little bit worse and the guilt gets a little bit heavy. You know what? Don't talk to anybody about those depressing thoughts. Don't get help. Don't talk to your counselor. Don't talk to your parents because it's gonna get better, right? You know what? Just keep cutting and you'll get through it, but does it get better or does it get worse and worse and worse? You know what? Just stick with this relationship. I know it's like week 1 and he's already asking for nudes, but you know what? It's gonna get better and I'm sure he loves you, but it gets worse and worse. You know what? I'm sure this friend group, they're all jerks right now, but you can change them and then it gets worse and worse. Back to the Bible, I'm sorry. You must be made new in your hearts and in your thinking. Be that new person. Put on that new person who was made to be like God, truly good and pleasing to him. I want to focus on how it talks about leaving the old you and putting on the new you. Because you know what? When we first step into Christianity, it is like, is this the tiger side? It is, I want to make sure that tiger is represented. Do you guys see this? YouTube? Do you see this tiger? Come on. Anyway, I'm sorry. When we first become Christians, it is very much like a blanket. It's a message we've never heard before, that a God who knows everything about us, a terrifying fact. I think there's a lot of times where if people knew everything about us, we would be backed into a corner. God finds us in that corner, back against the wall, and says, you know what? I love you. I see all of this junk. I love you. I'm gonna forgive you. I have a plan for you. I wanna help you. And it is that blanket. It's that comfortable, cozy feeling that we need. However, not saying that those things change. Not saying that God's message changes, that his love changes, that his plan changes, but he also wants you to change. And that cozy blanket is just step 1. He wants you to grow beyond the blanket. Because Christianity can't just keep covering us up. Because I think a lot of times we're used to this cozy Christianity. But you know what? Here, let me share this with you. And this might be, before we go any farther, this might be a shocking fact. Last night I got a lot of weird faces when I said this, because I don't think it's something we're used to hearing about God. Guys, God is only slightly interested in how you feel. God's number one concern is not your feelings. When you feel bad, when you feel upset, when you feel sad, I'm not saying that God doesn't care, but it's not his primary concern. The Bible calls God our Father, our good, perfect Father. He doesn't have the mistakes that our earthly fathers might have. He doesn't have the mistakes that we might see in other people. He's perfect. And think of all the times in your life where your parents, when you have just been sad and upset, and maybe for good reason have said, you know what? I know this might not be what you want to hear, but it's right. I know you really want to date that guy, but you're not going to. I know you really want this, but it's not good for you right now. I know you just got all of that candy, but you're going to eat some Brussels sprouts because they're good for you. And eat your Wheaties too. And drink a cup of milk. Grow strong. Milk. It's good for you? Question mark. God is only slightly interested in how you feel. But when we think of God, we think of this being who created the universe, who is only concerned with our feelings. That when God, we're sad, God, we had a bad day, God, what's going on? That he comes down and he says, there. Oh, shh. I'm here now, I got you. And I'm not saying that God won't do this in our lives. He's done it in mine. But that can't be the only thing we go to God for. See, the reason why God is only slightly interested in how we feel is because feelings are temporary. Feelings don't last forever. Feelings change, sometimes day in and day out, sometimes minute to minute. Hello, if you have any mood swings like I sometimes do. Feelings can change really quick. That's why feelings aren't God's primary concern. God is future focused. When God sees you, he doesn't look at your past. He doesn't even focus on your present. God always looks to your future and says, okay, this is where I gotta get them. Yeah, right now they're sad, but man, their plan in the future is so good, but I need them to strengthen up. I need them to toughen up. I need them to get stronger. I need them to get more disciplined. If they're gonna get from here to there, some things have to change. See, God is future focused. God is the one who says, look, if you don't wanna fall on your butt tomorrow, if you want to be able to get your car moving, then yeah, right now you're comfortable, you're cozy, you're happy, but I need you to get out there and get a little bit upset and go out in your driveway and snuffle. Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I need you to go outside and shovel your snow. Now, let's think about this though. How many times have the things we've heard God told us to do been easy? Look, I know there's so many guys who want to take you out, who want to talk to you. I know that you're getting all this attention, but me, God, I'm saying stay pure and don't date. Is that easy? No, it's hard. You know what? I know that to make it in school, you feel like you have to put other people down. You have to claw to survive. But I say, turn the other cheek and forgive people. Is that easy? No. I know that keeping that addiction a secret, I know that drinking that, I know that smoking that might make you feel a little bit better now. But I need you to get help. I need you to come out about it. I need you to address the situation. Is that easy? No. I know that you're in a dark place. I know that you feel alone, but I need you to stand up. I need you to speak out. I need you to get help, whether it's the suicide hotline, whether it's texting the United JV, whether it's talking to a parent, all three of those things. I need you to step out and get help. Is that easy? No. But is it better? Yes. Yes, always. If you're playing a sport, is it better to push that extra weight, to go that extra mile, to swim that extra lap, to run the drill one more time? Or is it better to leave early and to not go to practice? It's always better to do what's harder because it makes who you are tomorrow stronger. God is future focused. Everything he asks you to do points you to the future, which means faith. Our faith is future focused. Christians are weird, but specifically we're weird because when we live in a culture that looks so much at the now, how you feel right now, how you look right now, how much you have or don't have right now, how alone you feel right now. Christianity says, oh, right now, that's done when the sun goes down. My faith is towards a future where I know God has a plan for me. And this might be painful right now, but I know that God can make me stronger through it. I know that God will get me through this situation. You know what? Let's look at James. James 1, verses 2 through 4. My brothers and sisters, you guys, you will have many kinds of trouble. But this gives you a reason to be very happy. Brendan, did you fix this verse from last night? I told you to change this. That can't, wait, let me double check. Oh, no. You know what? No, I'm sorry. Brendan, you're right. Happy is the right word there. But this gives, you did it. You did it. Good job. I didn't send you a bad slide. But look at this. You will have trouble. This gives you a reason to be happy. Let's keep going. You know that when your faith is tested, when life gets hard, when God tells you to do something and you know it might be easy to do this, but it's better to do that, and your stomach feels like it's gonna make you throw up, and you're laying in bed, and you're all kinds of sweaty, and you're like, do I tell him? Do I not tell him? What am I gonna do? You know that when your faith is tested, you will learn to be patient and strong in suffering. And if you let that patience work in you, if you let that strength work in you, if you let God continue to push you to be better and you step along with him, the end result will be good. You will be mature and complete. You will be all that God wants you to be. When life gets hard, when life gets hard and it requires you to take a step that's hard, your life gets better and you get stronger. It's easy to get that temporary fix. It's easy to self-medicate. It's easy to keep it secret. It's easy to keep it hidden. But when you step out and say, you know what, it's hard, but I'm gonna talk about it. It's hard, but I'm gonna quit it. It's hard, but I'm gonna do it. All of a sudden, not only do you right now get stronger, but the you tomorrow gets stronger. And the you a week from now gets stronger. And the you a year from now gets stronger. And the you 10 years from now gets stronger. And all of a sudden, your future changes in a decision that you just made. And that addiction that might have lasted until you were 20, all of a sudden, now it's gonna end when you're 14. That addiction that you thought might lead until you were 50, all of a sudden that's completely different. Your future, which you thought looked so bleak, all of a sudden now because you're getting help, it's looking a lot brighter. Why? Not because you waited for something to change, because you made the change happen today. If the worship team wants to come on down, I'm gonna go through 4 quick things that you guys need to do and that faith pushes us to do, that Christianity pushes us to do. 1, you need to decide to get better, not to feel better. Don't just go for feeling better. Yeah, looking at that might distract you for a little bit. Playing video games all day might make it a little easier not to think about it. Yeah, keeping it quiet means it's not as embarrassing. It's not as embarrassing. It's not as hard to deal with. But you want to get better. You want to be stronger. You want this to not be a problem. So get it out of the dark. Get it into the light. Don't just do things to feel better. Get better. Next, look forward with faith, not back with feelings. Because feelings always make you look backwards and say, look at how bad you were. Look at how bad you are. Things haven't gotten better. Things have only gotten worse. Look at everything that's led up to this point. Look at all the things that have happened to you. Faith says, stop looking backwards and look forwards. Get some dreams about how good it could be. Get some dreams about how perfect your life could be. Get some visualizations for what you want to do and who you want to be, and then do something today that lines up with that. If you believe you're gonna be happy one day, then when you feel depressed and sad, get help to get happy then. If you feel weak today, do something today to get strong then. Next, listen to God's discipline. How? By reading and by praying. Get in the Bible. Guys, fessing up. I know that running United JV is my job. I know I work at a church, but there are some times where I really don't want to read my Bible. There are some times where it's just like nails on a chalkboard to read. My goodness, there are some days where I have to fight to get through this thing. But if I only read this book when it felt good, I don't know if I'd read it. Because reading this book is like having a conversation with someone who knows everything about me. And a lot of times, he'll point right in my life and say, this has got to change. But when I change it, it always makes me better. Now, there are days where I love reading this thing. It's like poetry, and the stories are beautiful and impactful, and they change my life. I believe that when I read this Bible, I'm not just reading, I'm talking to God. But it's not always easy, and it's not always easy for you guys either, but you got to get in it. You have to start somewhere, and then you have to be able to pray as well. And lastly, cut the junk out. When God hands you a shovel, when God says, you know, it's time, don't sit there and say, but it's so comfortable in my blankie. But God, it's so warm and cozy. Yeah, my feet are sticking out, but I can keep a little bit tucked in. When God says it's time to grow, go. Follow him, take the step. It'll be nerve-wracking. Every other part of you will say, don't do it. But I think sometimes when every other part of us says, don't do something, but God says, do it, those are the best decisions to make.